Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a spooky video game and talk about how it makes us scared. I'm Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
And today we'll be beginning our coverage of our multi-part Halloween special, Folklore, for the PS3. And we are playing the prologue and first chapter for both characters. But before we get started, how was everyone's week?
I had to get new tires for my car. And that's surely the worst thing that's happened to someone's car this week. Other than that, since we last spoke, when we last spoke, I told y'all how I started playing all the Metroid games, and I had in that week I'd gotten up to being partway through Super Metroid. Since then, I've finished Super Metroid, played Metroid Fusion, played Metroid Prime, played Metroid Zero Mission, and I've just barely started Metroid Prime 2 Echoes.
Fun.
Games are short and really good.
Metroid Prime isn't terribly short, but yeah, most of them are pretty short. Metroid Zero Mission is like 3 hours long.
Yeah. I remember the first time I played Super Metroid, it took me a while because I was figuring everything out and trying to figure out where to go and everything. And it felt like when you played Super Metroid, you like sent me a picture in the morning of the end screen of Samus Returns. And you're like, wow, this is great. And then at the end of the day, you sent me a picture of the finished Super Metroid screen. I was like, oh, well, I'm dumb, I guess.
You still got one up on me.
It was actually a few days. I'm looking at it now. My backlog. It was actually a couple days, but I did beat Fusion the day after Super Metroid. Super Metroid is one of the longer ones of the old games. Yeah. It is the longest of the original quadrilogy.
I think it's a quintilogy now, technically, because isn't Dread Metroid 5?
Yeah, Dread is Metroid 5.
Dread would make it a quintilogy, but I did say the original quadrilogy.
You did.
Sure.
Dread was much later.
I mean, but Fusion's pretty later compared to Super.
Yeah. It's a series with a lot of hiatuses.
Yeah. Speaking of the word quintilogy, earlier I was telling my partner that I was kind of in between book series and I didn't know what I was going to do next because I have read the original trilogy of the Dragon Riders of Pern, and the original trilogy of Dragon Riders of Pern has 6 books in it because in between books 2 and 3 she took a break, wrote a whole other trilogy, but then because she couldn't help herself referenced everything that happened in that trilogy in the 3rd book of the original trilogy. So the original trilogy is a 6-book series.
That's silly.
Amazing.
It's very silly, but how was your week, Trish?
It's been a fucking week. On the one hand, I've had a lot of great days at work. I love working in a library. I've got a bunch of new clothes. I have a nice pair of slacks now. I have a nice pair of ladies' slacks. I've got a bunch of new skirts. So I no longer have like 4 outfits I'm having to switch between for my 5 days at work. The 5th one being another one I can wear to work, but that one doesn't have pockets, and so that's the day without pockets. So I don't have that anymore, which is nice. I started reading a new book by C.B. Lee, the person that Treasure Island, but what if the characters were lesbians and it took place in China. She has a newish book called Coffee Shop in an Alternate Universe that just from the title I knew I would love, but it is even better than I was expecting. And yet despite all of these things, genuinely I have been having a really fucking rough one, y'all. It's been very hard. Yeah. It's rough in ways I can't really talk about on the podcast, but I'm hanging in there, and trying to be positive.
Yeah, what helps me when I'm having a rough run is playing the entire Metroid series in order in an
what's helping me through it is having to wait 8 years in between releases of your favorite game series, and then the new one is actually really, really good. So you should just do that to yourself. That'll cure your
I see.
depression right up.
I mean,
Yeah.
But they're not going to
that's
make
probably
any
good to do
more.
with Metroid.
They're not going to make
It's
any
true.
more Paper Mario games.
I mean, if they do, it probably won't be what anyone wants.
No.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is I'm saying that in parentheses. They probably will, but it'll be another fucking Origami King or something, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
To be fair,
go ahead. Say exactly what I thought you were going to say.
No, I was going to say, to be fair, Origami King is a step towards, like, it's not
100%.
like straight towards the right thing. It's like northeast from the true north we want it to be. So there exists a world where, because of how good Thousand Year Door remake did and how much people praised Origami King for getting back to basics, there's a world in which we finally get a Paper Mario 3, but it might be 8 years from now.
Who can say?
Listen, you're correct, and I know you're correct, and I understand you and I agree with you, but also you need to understand that I spent after that game came out, I was so ready to just completely disregard it. But I knew so many people who had to post about, like, no, this one's actually good. We got a new, really good Paper Mario game. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll check it out. You're saying Paper Mario's back? I love Paper Mario. And then I played it, and I was like, yeah, this is a step closer. It is like it is a step closer, but it feels like a step closer. It has a fucking, like, a manacle around its legs, and it's chained to the wall, and it's straining against it. There are hands around its throat, and it is choking itself, trying to be better. And I'm like, I applaud it, but also, it's still, like, it's just sort of good. It's not what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I think is hilarious, and by hilarious I mean sad, is so when Super Paper Mario came out, it was an action RPG Paper Mario in the style of a Super Mario Brothers game. However, because it was the one on the Wii, and a lot of people were playing games for the first time on the Wii, they played it, thought it was supposed to be a Super Mario Brothers game, and it's a lot of fucking just doing story shit. And they complained about how there was story in their Super Mario Brothers, and they didn't care, and they just wanted to get back to playing the game. And the higher ups at Nintendo were like, nobody likes the story in Paper Mario, and then we've had to fight tooth and claw, straining against our manacles just to get to Origami King ever since then.
And what sucks even more is it's like it's this weird situation of, like, it got this reputation for not being what a lot of people wanted. And if people didn't like Super Paper Mario, that's fine. It's not my favorite, but I do love that game. And I think it is kind of unequivocal that game has, if not the best story, it has the most story of any Paper Mario game. Like, it's got shit going on.
Yeah, I've heard, speaking of Paper Mario, I heard, like, last week or so when I was looking something else up, that Thousand Year Door was the first game that the modern Nintendo's Treehouse wrote, which is why it's awesome, because Nintendo Treehouse is really, really good at localization. And I thought that was awesome because I would have sworn that they had done the first one too. Like they nailed the exact tone from the first one to the second one, but it was Treehouse, which was very neat.
It is. How's your week been?
So we're going to talk about the week up until yesterday. So the week up until yesterday is the new Digimon game came out, and it's really fucking good. Like, stupid good. I could, like, write theses on why it's really, really good. They do a lot of things, like, for freaks that I never thought they would have done, like not just bringing back like Rydramon, Veemon's much less popular transformation. They like brought him back, which is cool, but also like there will be like if you just play through the game straight, you'll have a fantastic time on easy and normal. But if you
Raises my hand, but what if I can't play through a game straight?
Yeah. So for freaks, there'll be things like the way that the Digimon story games work is you don't catch Digimon, you learn about them, and then when you have enough data from them, you can convert that data into a Digimon of your own. So if you walk into a room and it's filled to the brim with the exact same kind of Digimon, the freaks in the room are like, oh, this is a grinding spot. I'm going to min-max the shit out of this. And they've done so many things to make the menuing, which was already really good in Cyber Sleuth. They like did a bunch of very tiny small tweaks that make it even better. And it's so good. And the story is the wildest thing. The story is almost Pokemon fan game. How little it feels like a monster taming game. It is insane. You are part of special agents that go and solve Digimon crimes. And while you're trying to solve a Digimon crime, you accidentally get sent to the digital world and accidentally steal their like egg of Jesusmon, basically. And then when you accidentally steal it, you somehow end up 8 years in the past, but your phone is still connected to your guy in the chair 8 years in the future. And he's like looking up things on Facebook, basically, to see what was happening 8 years ago so that you can go around and do stuff. And
do you have any idea how much you've immediately sold me on this game?
It's very freaking good. It is, and that's like all the stuff that happens before the title card drop. The title card
Holy
drops
shit.
when you get to the digital world for real, which is like 3 hours after that. It is very, very good. I'm a
huge freak for time travel shit, and that sounds like my exact like yes, gimme.
Yeah. Big recommend. It's also like from Cyber Sleuth, where most of the dungeons were the same blue internet space because it was on the Vita, and it was a lot of asset reuse because it was on the Vita. Going from that to like these thought out, like with puzzles and dungeon gimmicks and stuff like that, dungeons is so delicious and nice, and it's very good. It's currently the best Digimon game. CW has beaten it and just sent me the word holy shit. So I think it's gonna stay the best one.
Awesome.
But then yesterday happened. So yesterday I'm taking my partner to work because she works like across the street from me, and she lives on the other side of town. So when she spends the night, I drive her to work. Then she takes the bus home at the end of the day. And so I go to drive her to work, and my car does the thing. I don't remember if I talked about it last time it happened, but it happened like 2 years ago, where it's like engine power is reduced, and then it doesn't let me get over 2,000 RPMs. And so I was like, well, shit, I hope it's not the timing chain, because that was like $1,000 last time. But because I'm doing better financially right now, like $1,000 won't kill me the way that it absolutely did back in the day. So I can probably get it done. And so because I'm not scared of that, I'm going to just take it to the mechanic tomorrow instead of waiting forever. I drove on it in that compromised state for like 3-4 months last time, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take it in. I'm going to do the right thing. And so today I'm driving it over there, and it stalls out on like every single traffic light, but it's okay because I can just start it up again and keep driving. And then I get to right in front of the mechanic, and I'm going to turn in, and it stalls and then won't start. And I'm in the turn lane in front of my mechanic. And so I try so much that I kill my battery, and so it starts doing the the clicking noise that you have a dead battery. And I'm like, okay. So I call them on the phone. I'm like, I'm trying to bring you guys my car, but I'm literally right in front of you and I can't turn in. Can someone come help me push? And so all the mechanics came out and helped me push it in. And so I was describing what was happening and everything. And they were like, oh, that does absolutely sound like it's just like a computer issue or something, because a couple of days ago my AC didn't start, wasn't coming on, and I was like, well, shit, that sucks. I'll have to go get that fixed. But then I turned my car off and turned it back on, and the AC was working. And mechanical gears and stuff like that don't fix themselves by turning them off and turning them on again. That's a computer thing. And so I was telling them that, and they were agreeing. They're like, yeah. So it had the service stability track light on, which is what Chevrolet calls its like computer assisted braking and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, it's probably a computer issue. And it's like, yeah, it's probably no big deal. So I left it with them. My partner gave me a ride back home. Everything was hunky dory. And then about a couple hours later, he gives me a call and he's like, yeah, so I can't remember what he said. I thought he said mortar, but looking up like mortar engine part brings no results. So I've heard him incorrectly, but whatever it was is something like inside the engine. So to get at it, they would have to fully disassemble my engine, which is like a 4-hour process. So that's looking at like $700 for them to get in there and look around and see what's wrong. And then the worst case of what's wrong is they'll have to replace that part. And because it's something in the deep middle of the engine, it's like $8,000, which is a very large number that I did not want to hear. So the mechanic was like, yeah, it's a pretty old car. You've had it for a while. Like, I would just scrap it and get you a new one. See if like you can trade it in or something and get it, use it for a down payment. And I was like, I would, but I refinanced that car in April. So even though it's super old and I would have already paid it off, I now owe $20,000 on it. So I can't just do that. So I called my bank and told them what was up. But for some sort of policy reason, something, I don't know, they have to go through like, oh, could we refinance it again to get the higher loan for you to buy it? And I hope that that's not the case, because $8,000 more to my loan would probably make it like $900 a month almost. And I don't want to pay $900 for a car that fucking shits the bed every 2 years. I would really like to just not have this car anymore. But we'll see. She said, I'll give you a call right back at 4:00 today. And probably going to hear from her tomorrow, because 4:00 came and went a long time ago. So that sucks. But I have been...
It fucking sucks, man. I'm sorry.
I have been window shopping minivans, which has been fun. So get to be a van dad. It's extra awesome because most of the time I only have me and the 2 kids, so I don't need 7 seats all the time, but I would have them for like road trips and stuff with the family. So I can put the farthest back seats down and just have giant trunk, which helps. I would like giant trunk. That sounds fun. But we'll see if I get that whenever I hear back. But you know what else I did this week? I played Folklore for the PS3.
So I wrote the history section this time because I was the one who insisted we play this game. Folklore, also known as Folk Soul, The Lost Folklore in Japan, is an early PlayStation 3 game that you may have heard of if you've ever Googled PS3 hidden gems, and definitely have not heard of if you've never done that. It was developed by Game Republic. Had y'all heard of this game other than me telling y'all we should play it?
No.
I
Never in my
literally
life.
saw it on a PS3 hidden gems list when I had first hacked my PS3 and I was looking for games to play. So the only way I had heard of it is if you were looking for PS3 gems.
Nice. Game Republic's first game was a social deduction board game called Shadowhunters. I was going to read a summary to see if it sounded cool, but the Wikipedia page is really overly detailed, and you'd have to pay me a lot of money to get me to actually read board game rules. Next, they made Genji Dawn of the Samurai for the PlayStation 2, and its sequel, Genji Days of the Blade, a launch title for the PlayStation 3. That's right, the game with a giant enemy crab. Remember that one?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Based on real fights that actually happened. So here's this giant enemy crab. But between the two Genji games, I also put out Every Party, a board game style party game for the Xbox 360, which has cute cover art, and Brave Story New Traveler for the PSP, which I believe Sam played on this podcast before me and Trish joined up.
Yes, I did, and it
In the
rules
old
really
days.
hard.
Nice.
Yeah, so Brave Story New Traveler is a tie-in to an anime adaptation of a really classic Japanese young adult novel, and the anime just is a adaptation of the novel. And they looked at that and they're like, we don't want to do that. We want to make Final Fantasy X. And so you run into the boy from the movie like one time, and the rest of it's just their own fucking story. But it has a lot of heart, and it's really, really good.
That's sort of like how Folklore was supposed to be a companion piece to something called Monster Kingdom Duel Summoner, which is a role-playing game by another company. And this game was also published by Sony Computer Entertainment. But I don't know, apparently it became its own thing. Interestingly, though, it was originally titled Monster Kingdom Unknown Realms, and Unknown Realms is the title of the magazine that is in the game.
That's fun.
So yeah, after all those games with giant enemy crabs and new travelers and stuff, Game Republic's next game was Folklore, published by Sony Computer Entertainment for their third PlayStation in 2007. The game takes place in the Irish village of Doolin, which shares a name with a real Irish village, but I'm pretty sure it's not really based on it in any meaningful way. They just use the name, especially because it's not called that in the Japanese version. In the Japanese version, it's called Limerick. The game deals with lots of Celtic mythology and has relatively little voice acting, so there's probably going to be a lot of words we don't know how to pronounce.
Yep.
One word I do know how to pronounce is Samhain, an old Gaelic festival which begins the night of October 31st. Samhain is believed to have heavily influenced secular Halloween customs. Wikipedia says most North American Halloween traditions were brought over by Irish and Scottish immigrants in the 19th century, which then spread to many other countries through American influence. The story of Folklore starts on Samhain, when, according to this game's version of Celtic mythology and some real belief systems, the veil between our world and the afterlife is at its thinnest. That's why I've been wanting to play this for a Halloween special like forever. But it is too long to do in one episode. But this year we had finished up a game just in time to have 3 or 4 weeks of Halloween time, so we're doing a whole Halloween miniseries because I insisted on it.
Hell yes.
If y'all didn't want to do it, y'all should have pushed back harder. I do want to note that Game Republic went on to make more weird shit. Most notably, the Dragon Ball Origins games, those weird Dragon Ball DS games you controlled with the stylus like Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah,
And
they're really good.
they also made Majin and the Forsaken Kingdom, or as I've always known it, oh, that one game on the 360? They shut down in 2011 because sadly making weird, interesting 7 out of 10 video games that no one buys is not indefinitely sustainable, which is very sad.
So yeah, let's start playing this video game then. So when we start up the game, we see our hero, a young woman named Ellen. She says she's lost her mother when she was very young. Her only memory of her mother is the fairy tales that she'd tell her about the village of Doolin, where the living could meet the dead. But now she's received a mysterious letter from her mother saying she's waiting for her at the cliff of Seed in Doolin. What? Note that we get sorry, I can do that better.
I helped write the notes. Sam wrote most of it, but I put in stuff. So if Sam reads something weird or laughs at a joke, he's not saying something weird because he doesn't know what he wrote or laughing at his own joke.
No, I'm laughing at Bernard. Like most of the times that I've laughed recently have been because of words that Bernard has written. Possum Boy, now available on Steam.
Also, I do want to, since we already interrupted, it is the Cliff of She. Apparently, it seems to be an alternate spelling of the She and Ket She, like Final Fantasy VII.
Okay. Yeah, for what I understand, She is what it's spelled like that is usually used as like a Fey term.
Yeah,
there's a lot of fairies here.
I don't know shit. I looked this one up and it's She, and apparently has something to do with Ket She.
I think in my notes I wrote like the Cliff of SEA or something because that's what I thought I was hearing. But then later when I saw them spell it out and say it again, I was imagining a D on the end of it. So there we go. Yeah, so she received a mysterious letter from her mother saying that she's waiting for her at the Cliff of She in Doolin, which is wild because her mom's supposed to be dead. We get a glimpse of the letter in which the mother asks forgiveness for being absent for 7 years, though all the dialogue says 17 years. Don't know if it's a mistake or if Ellen's supposed to be 12. Who can say? There's this whole thing where a boat is taking Ellen to Doolin, but the guy says he's not going to get any closer to the island that doesn't really look like an island. Whatever. So he's like, oh, I'm not going to get any closer to this. And she's like, no, but you have to. I have to find my mom. And he's like, that's not my problem. And so she just jumps into the water, which is weird. So meanwhile, our other hero is playing darts while monologuing about unexplained phenomena in the steady advance of modern science. It's Otacon from Metal Gear Solid. Except in some weird AU fanfic where he's not a weapons engineer, he's a reporter for an occult magazine called Unknown Realms.
To be fair, I can absolutely see Otacon. I know almost nothing about Metal Gear, but I can absolutely see Otacon getting into like an occult magazine.
He named himself after Otaku Convention. Of course he would be writing for an occult magazine. So, he's skeptical of all of the supernatural nonsense of which he writes for this magazine. He's looking at an article in the magazine when the phone rings. He answers, and the woman on the line says, "Help! Help me! These fairies! They'll kill me! The village, Doolin, on the Cliff of She! Help me!" Otacon is baffled, then distracted by the kettle. The camera pans across the article from before that says, "Reunite with the deceased in the village of Doolin." Fade from the photo in the magazine to the actual village. Otacon is there. He monologues that they see this kind of prank all the time, but this time it seemed different. So he went to Doolin, the realm of the dead. Now we see Ellen approach a Stargate on the Cliff of She.
I don't know what a Stargate looks like, but that's what Sam's notes said when I was punching him up. So
it's true. It's like a squarish geometric Stargate. There's someone sitting on the edge of the cliff. Ellen calls out, but the person doesn't respond. Otacon shows up and asks Ellen if she's the one who called his office. She has no idea what he's talking about, so he's like, oh, maybe it was the lady over there. But then the person on the cliff falls over, apparently dead. Ellen is freaked out because her maybe mom, who may have died 17 years ago, but then maybe didn't, is now maybe dead again. But Otacon stops her from rushing to the body, saying it's a crime scene and they need to call the police. Then a huge gust of wind disorients our heroes, and we look back, the body is gone. Ellen rushes to the cliff in shock, then runs off. Otacon muses, "A murder in the village of the dead? Tell me this is a joke." And
I like how we're doing Solid Snake voice for Otacon. Also, he makes a lot of assumptions. We don't know it's a murder.
Keats, the guy's actual name, does do solid snake words a lot, so
Oh, yeah.
it fits.
Yes.
This is a AU where they're the same person.
Yes.
It is. Maybe I'm just having like lingering Verso feelings, but this man I feel like has the most punchable fucking face. I can't remember the last time I had a playable protagonist in a game that I hated this much.
He does bear a passing resemblance to Verso, and maybe that's influencing you. But yeah.
So time for the prologue, and we get to pick our protagonist. We start with Ellen, because the internet says start with Ellen. And apparently there's stuff in game too. The Let's Play I was watching to write my notes, he didn't do Ellen first, but he also is doing a 100% run. So he was going and talking to everybody, and there are people in the town that say stuff that only makes sense if you did Ellen first. So it tells you if you did it wrong, which is not quite the same as telling you which one to do first. So we start Ellen's chapter, and she's like, oh shit, my mom fell off a cliff. Picks up exactly where the intro left off. She's like, I got to get to the beach. And she runs to the beach. And if you don't run to the beach, she says, oh no, my mom, I got to run to the beach. Like 40 times.
I don't know why they bothered giving us control of this section.
Truly.
All we do is run to the edge of the screen.
So she gets to the beach, and when she's there, there's some fucking twinkie boy who is not impressed at all. He's like, oh, your mom fell off that cliff? Well, good fucking luck. She's dead. For some reason, Ellen faints. The twink is as confused as we are. The twink is as confused as we are as the screen fades to black. Ellen wakes up in the middle of the night in some cottage with no idea how she got there. She ruminates about never being able to find her mom, and that it's always the same, a glimpse of hope that quickly fades away. Then a voice says, Ellen, you're not alone. Ooh, wee, he. Because we haven't heard his voice acting yet, which is not at all what he sounds like.
No.
Because like the first text box comes up and it's like, Ellen, you're not alone. And I'm like, ooh, what's this mysterious voice? And then it's a wee. And I'm like, oh, I had that wrong in my head. Ellen asks who's there, but the voice just says, perhaps you can find your mother. Come to the pub. So we do that. Inside are some fairies. Sorry, I mean Half-Lives 1, 2, and Alex. They ask if Ellen has come to meet the dead. And they say that they can help Ellen find her mother. They say that if she goes to the netherworld, she can speak to the dead and find her mother. That is, if she's the next one to don the cloak. Ellen has a lot of questions, but they never basically acknowledge that she's even talking. It's like she keeps being like, okay, what do you mean netherworld? And then they talk about something else. And she's like, what do you mean cloak? And then they talk about something else. They're like, where's my mom? And they talk about something else. So then they send her outside to go talk to Scarecrow, the local resident weirdo freak. Apparently, he has waited ages for this day. Before heading out, we can talk to some kooky Half-Lives and get some world building and fun dialogue. But when we go out to see Scarecrow, he looks similar to... Oh, I don't remember the picture book in Ellen's flashback at the beginning.
I didn't remember it until I rewatched it, and I was like, oh, that's totally Scarecrow.
Neat. So, yeah, Scarecrow has a strong resemblance to a figure in the picture book that Ellen was reading in the flashback. He tells Ellen to follow him, and he'll lead her to the netherworld. What he means is, I will stand right here, and then when the camera changes, I will already be at the netherworld. He leads her to a henge south of the village. Is henge a word? Like, I know we call Stonehenge, but is it a stone hinge, or is Stonehenge the thing? Because a lot of people, say hinges, but I don't know if it's real.
Yeah, a hinge is a thing. A hinge can be one of three related types of Neolithic earthwork. The essential characteristic of all three is that they feature a ring-shaped bank and ditch, with the ditch inside the bank.
Neat. So yeah, he takes her to a hinge south of the village and tells her to go inside this like catacomb thing that's there and retrieve the cloak of the dead. When she goes inside, she gets attacked by the cloak or a ghost or something. Hard to say. It's kind of hard to parse in the cutscene. But then Scarecrow saves her and tells her that priestesses from long ago would don this cloak, the cloak of the dead, to be able to listen to the dead and go to the netherworld, but it's dangerous to do so. Ellen says that she has to find her mother no matter what, and then she Sailor fucking moons into a very cunty outfit, donning the cloak of the dead.
Cuntiest fucking outfit. I truly just, my favorite part of this game so far is her magical girl transformation sequence.
It's so weird. And I also love that, like, it's not a metaphor like how Sailor Moon's is. It's actually happening because we see it from afar later, and that makes it extra special.
It the only way I can describe it is like if someone did a Sailor Moon transformation sequence, but to turn into Bayonetta.
Yes. Ellen heads through the gate to the world of the dead, and when she's in there, she meets a bunch of elf dudes who say that they are genetically predisposed to give tutorials or something. They basically that. I don't remember exactly what it is, but they're like, "Oh yeah, it's our job to tell you all of the important words that we've put in brackets." They tell her that she's what's called a messenger, one who can travel to the netherworld and carry messages between the living and the dead. Tonight is Samhain, so she can freely travel between the real world and the netherworld, but once dawn breaks, she'll be unable to return. Also, she can, like, do a fishing mini game to steal the ids of folks with a capital I and a capital F.
You call it a fishing mini game. I call it Luigi's Mansioning.
Oh, it's very much Luigi's Mansion, especially the boss fight version of it is incredibly Luigi's Mansion. So folks with a capital F are restless souls in the netherworld, and they take the form of weird little freaky dudes, and their ids are their essence. And so when you beat them up enough, you then can, like, Luigi's Mansion their soul out of their body, when then you get to use them as attacks. So in a cutscene, because you don't have anything to fight with yet, you get a weirdo freak goblin who is your basic melee attack, and you get a shield, which is basically useless because it still gives you knockback when you use it, and I immediately replaced it as soon as I could. But the little goblin guy stuck around because he's a really good melee attack. So you punch a bunch of folks, and then you meet back up with Scarecrow, who says that he thinks that your mom is just ahead. Ellen runs up to the lady, who says that 17 years ago, she'll never forget, on the night of Samhain, it's all Ellen's fault. All those years ago, you're possessed. I'll kill you. And she dives at Ellen, and in a flash of light, Ellen wakes back up in the cottage. Scarecrow says that obviously wasn't Ellen's mom, but was a folk trying to trick her, so Ellen will have to try again to find her mom. But Samhain is over, so to open a gate to the netherworld, she needs to find a memento of the dead. Dawn breaks, and Scarecrow must away, and he says that he'll see her again tonight. Let's go check on Otacon and see what he's up to. Otacon's real name, as I said, is Keats, and he follows Ellen down to the beach, but when he gets there, she's out cold, and the twink is standing over her. Keats says that he was here because of a phone call, but when he reached the meeting place, the lady fell off the cliff, and Ellen went crazy. So Ellen's probably tied up in all of this, so he's going to question her and see what's up. The twink helps take Ellen back to town, where he gets Keats and Ellen a room. I put in my notes to share because I thought he was saying, oh, she gets the bed and I'm stuck on the couch. But no, she gets a house with a bed. He gets a cave with a couch.
Yeah. The filmmaking and the dialogue makes it seem like they are sharing a space, but no, they're on opposite sides of the town. It's weird.
Yeah. He gets awoken from falling asleep on the couch by a voice telling him to go to the pub. He says it's probably a hallucination, but a lead is a lead, so he might as well check it out. He meets the same half-lives that Ellen did, but he's like, I can't write a story about fairies and shit. No one will read that stuff. I write for a good paper. I write for Occultism Monthly. They don't play with all this silly shit. He goes to leave and meets Belgay, the Invisible Man, who is very cool looking. I like him a lot.
How's he cool looking? He's invisible.
Because he's invisible, but he has a Phantom of the Opera mask and a top hat and, like, fancy clothes. He's very cool. Belgay says that he can help Keats get to the netherworld if he meets him at the South Henge. When he gets inside, he hears Ellen and Scarecrow and is like, what the fuck is going on? And Belgay says that Ellen is becoming a messenger and can travel to the land of the dead. But every messenger needs a guardian. So if Keats goes near her, he will also get that power. So he enters the room right as Ellen Sailor Moons, but nothing happens to Keats. He's like, okay, that's cool and all, but I'll need more than that. And then he gets more than that. A bunch of panels swoop in from nowhere and surround him, and his jacket, waistcoat, and shirt are ripped from him forcefully, and his muscles get bulgy and huge, and he turns into a large beef patty of a man with gray skin and white hair, like a combination of Daddy Nier and the Nameless One from Planescape Torment. But then
Okay, I
Keats
didn't
picks
want to
up...
say I don't know who the Nameless One is because I was worried that it was from something I knew for some reason, and I would look a
No.
fool.
No.
I do know Daddy Nier, though.
Yes, but Keats picks up his glasses and he puts his glasses back on and he turns back into Bruce Banner and he's like, wow, this is such a weird dream. And I'm like, okay, this will be his Sailor Moon transformation. When we go to the Netherworld, he will be this big beefy guy. That's really cool. So far, he has never turned back into that. So
Do you not?
So befuddled.
Does he not turn into that when you do Sonic Unleashed mode?
Does he?
I don't remember. Now you've got me doubting it.
He might. I know I didn't use it that much, so maybe that's why I'm not remembering it well. I think I used it like on the boss fight, and that's it. Because it's a resource, and therefore you save your resources and you never spend them because you might need them later, which is stupid and not how anyone should play video games. But my brain is broken. Catch me at the final boss with 99 elixirs. That's me. Belgay says to enter the Netherworld himself and to see what happens. So he does that. And what happens is basically the exact same thing that happened to Ellen, including the exact same tutorial fight with the waves of Freako Goblin folks. At the end, he sees the lady yell at Ellen as Ellen flashes and goes back to the realm of the living. Keats has a few more minutes, though, for some reason. Dawn happens at the same time. Samhain's over at the same time for everyone, but he gets to stay for a couple minutes. And so he goes and talks to the...
really likes Keats, that's why.
Yeah. So he goes and talks to the lady whose name is Regine. Keats asks if Regine is the one who called him, but she doesn't know what he's talking about. Regine talks about being unable to settle the score from 17 years ago. Keats guesses that Regine is the one who called Ellen here. Regine's memory seems cloudy, but she realizes her daughter is still in the village, and she'll be killed too. Please, tell her to leave the village. Keats is skeptical. Regine says that there's a photo hidden in a ceramic doll in that room, so show it to Suzette. Keats asks what's going on and who killed her and that sort of thing, but he then wakes up in the pub, where Belgay says he needs to find mementos of the dead in order to find the answers he seeks. Back with Ellen, she's in her room wondering who the person at the cliff was and what it all has to do with her past. Outside of the cabin, Ellen runs into Otacon, formally introduces himself, and he says that that woman was not Ellen's mother, but that the woman's daughter, Suzette, is in town and she may know the truth. He says that it's probably a murder, and them being outsiders, they're probably going to be prime suspects, so we should be careful. So Ellen heads off to find Suzette. Thankfully, the game tells us the name of everyone who lives in every one of the houses, so we know exactly where to go. You just walk close to it, and it's like, Suzette's house. And you're like, well, that was easy. When we get there, that twink boy from the beach is actually a butch girl named Suzette. And
I've been sitting here biting my fucking tongue this entire script going like, you motherfucker, how dare you?
But like,
to be
the
fair,
whole time,
the kind of like trash butch she is truly does give her twink vibes.
Oh, 100%. And the like the leather jacket that she's wearing is 100% the like Japanese anime cool guy twink outfit from 2009. Turns out that Suzette fucking hates her mom. Ellen says that she was sorry that she couldn't save her mom, and Suzette's just like, she had it coming. Suzette asks Ellen why she even cares, and Ellen says that 17 years ago, when she was 5 years old, she doesn't remember anything from back then, and Suzette's mother is the only clue that she has to her past. Suzette is like, stop asking about my family, and then proceeds to tell Ellen all about her family. Her mom had gone cuckoo bananas and would flip between either thinking that Suzette was her dead older brother and beating her. Ellen asks what made her mom like that. Suzette says that on Samhain 17 years ago, her father fell off of a cliff and died. And that same day, her mother disappeared from the village. Ellen says that Suzette's mom must have been in shock, and Suzette says that her mom must have murdered her dad, and that people have said that they were fighting a lot before it happened. The way that Suzette phrases everything here made me think that she walked out on Suzette, but as we find out later, she was pregnant with Suzette at this time.
Yeah, the entire thing is really weird.
Yes. So there are also rumors that Suzette's dad had been abusing her brother, but now all three of them are gone, so only the dead know the answers. Ellen is like, funny you should mention that. Do you have a memento of your dad? I'm a spirit detective. I need to talk to him. No point does she try to have a secret identity. Right out of the gate, she's like, oh no, I do like magic shit. Yeah. Suzette gives Ellen a key that her dad was holding when he died. That night, Ellen takes the key to the southern hinge, and Scarecrow tells her to make an offering on the stone in the middle, and it will tell her where a door to the netherworld is that she can cross. She does that and is led to the lighthouse, which blasts its light down on Ellen, revealing a door to the netherworld behind her. Once inside, she's back to the fairy world, which is apparently not the only netherworld that exists, say some of the elves who actually got to have updated dialogue this time. Not all of them did. Ellen asks Scarecrow what she has to do to see Suzette's father, and he says that there is a folklore in this realm. Folklores are restless spirits that died while full of emotion, and defeating them should release all of the spirits of the dead that they've sucked up, which will release Suzette's dad so we can go speak to him. But first, we need to go talk to the fairy lord, who is over yonder past the dungeon we already did in the prologue. So we go through the dungeon again, fighting lots of jerks along the way, including some large jerks who have a special really bad mechanic to fish for them. It's Luigi's Mansion, but it's not good. It's very, very touchy, and you have to do it exactly on beat. So their soul will be trying to leave their body, but if you try and grab it while it's green, you fail. But it'll turn red for like half a second, and you don't press a button when that happens. You have to shake the 6-axis when it happens, and it took me a long time to get the timing down.
I had zero trouble with it the entire time. So I don't know what you're doing wrong.
I thought I was like doing something wrong. Like it was one of those things where it's like sometimes in a game you get lost and you have no idea what you're doing. Sometimes you know exactly what you're doing, you just can't do it. And this was one of those where it's like, this shouldn't be hard for me, but it was. Maybe like the polling rate on my computer is off or something. I don't know, but it was odd. I got the hang of it and would get it by the time I played Keats's chapter. I got it first try every time. But this first one, I had to kill the fucking bird like 8 times before I finally caught it.
Goodness.
Yeah. Eventually, we run into the weird little French boy from the end of Clair Obscur, and he says that we're not supposed to be there. Ellen says that she's here to find out about her past, because the first thing she remembers is being at the orphanage. She thinks that she probably hit her head or something. The little boy that says no, she's probably repressing a memory, and that she should be careful what she wishes for. Ellen asks who he is and how he knows her, and he says his name is Herve, and he disappears without answering the other question. Ellen continues fighting some jerks until she runs into Scarecrow, who says that some other human has also come to the fairy realm, and Ellen doesn't know that we know that it's Keats, so she's concerned. But Scarecrow says ignore that for now and hurry to the fairy lord so we can find out where the folklore is. We head into the audience chamber where the fairy lord says that they've been waiting for her to arrive because shit is fucked and nothing's working right because the folklore is here. He says that humans purge memories of their pain and suffering, and those memories end up in the netherworld. The worst of humanity's fears and sorrows amalgamate into the most powerful types of folks, the great folklores that stand in your way. But she can fight the folklores with the power of the cloak, and if she does, the secrets of her past may be revealed. And wouldn't you know it, a folklore is attacking right now. Ellen runs out to where the folklore is, and it's a big ol' yucky goop monster with like flower tentacles, and he's yucky. I don't like it. Ellen uses all of the ids of the jerks that she found along the way, and she defeats the goopy guy. And when she does, a door opens, which leads her to the pub back in town. A helpful, weird deer head on the wall that can talk and tells her that it's she's only seeing the pub because her mind is filling in details with something familiar. And it's definitely not because this is a Z-list game and they had to reuse some assets. In the pub appears Ronaldo, Suzette's father. Ellen asks if he knows her because Regine asked her to come, but Ronaldo says he doesn't remember her. Back when they lived in the village, there weren't many children there, just Herve and one other. Ellen is like, Herve, I know him. And Ronaldo is like, he's my son. He was brutally murdered. I'll never forget. It was that night after Lighthouse Keeper Ryan told me about the awful thing that happened at church. But oh well, I'm out of time now. Bye now. Please make sure that Suzette gets my letter. And he turns into a bug.
It's the weirdest fucking thing.
Deerhead says that these bugs feed on memory and it's going to explode, so it'll show those memories to her. So it explodes, and in the memories, Ellen sees glimpses of the night that Ronaldo was talking about, but we still don't know what happened at the church. We see Ronaldo fighting with someone, possibly Regine, possibly not, at the top of the cliff, and in the fight, he slips and falls off the cliff. At the bottom, he's clinging on to life because Suzette hasn't been born yet, but the best he can do is write her a letter and seal it in a bottle to keep it dry. Ellen exits the memories back into the fairy world, where Scarecrow explains that that was just a manifestation of Ronaldo's memories. The dead are dead. It's not like they're alive in the netherworld or anything. They're just memories. But your memories are what make you, right? Ooey hee hee. He also tells her that there are other worlds deeper in the netherworld, and now that she's defeated the folklore, she can continue on deeper to the other realms to find the truth. But for now, she should return to the village. We return to talk to Suzette and tell her what we learned, and Suzette is like, I don't really think that you're a spirit detective, so you're just saying whatever it is that you think I want to hear. And so Ellen is like, okay, fuck you then. I'll go get proof. And she goes to the beach to see if she can find the bottle. Suzette follows her and tells her to stop digging up skeletons. And Ellen is like, but your family didn't do anything wrong. Then Suzette's foot hits something on the ground, and turns out the message in a bottle from 17 years ago is just right there on the beach.
Yep.
The letter
It's just
says,
there.
like, I was expecting her to like dig for it, or it'd be like tucked in the rocks or something, but it's just
Be like in a
the middle.
cave, but it's just sitting there.
Menacingly.
No one is cleaning up the litter.
The letter says, Regine, sorry I could not make the four of us happy. Give Suzette all the love and care you can. And to Suzette, as yet unborn, may you be happy with a loving family. Suzette acts like she can't read it because it's all smudged. Ellen says that Suzette's father obviously cared for her. And Suzette wonders why her father died, and that she understands now, wanting to know about the past. Ellen asks why Suzette's mother brought Ellen here, and Suzette says that when her mom found out about Ellen, she laughed like a mad woman and came back to this village. What was mother thinking when she came to this village? And that's the end of the chapter. Ellen has no follow-up questions. Back in Keats' chapter, which is slightly in the past from when Ellen started, he's sitting in a pub wondering what the fuck is going on. He knows that Suzette exists, so he's going to go and visit her. He tells her that he's investigating the woman who fell from the cliff, and he heard that her daughter lives in this village. Suzette feigns ignorance, but Keats sees a ceramic doll. He opens it to find the photo that Regine mentioned. The photo is dated October 1989, 17 years ago. It's a family photo of Regine, Ronaldo, and Herve. Suzette freaks out, and Keats is like, relax, I'm a spirit detective, and your mom asked me to help. Suzette is weirded out by the happy family in the photo. The only mother she knew was a monster. Keats says that Regine was worried about Suzette and wanted her to leave the village. She surely cares about her. Suzette's like, fine, if you're a spirit detective, find out who killed my mother and what happened to my family and everything. Keats is like, okay, I'm taking the photo, though. Keats decides to head to Ellen's hut and ask her what her deal is, since they haven't really had a chance to talk yet. And we now see Keats and Ellen's conversation from before. Keats then heads back to his hovel to rest until nightfall so he can use the photo, a memento of the dead, to access the netherworld. At the Hinge, Bilgay explains the mechanics of using a memento to access the netherworld. Keats is directed to the lighthouse, just like Ellen was, and he gets blasted by light, which reveals a door to the netherworld behind him, just like with Ellen. Bilgay welcomes Keats back to the fairy realm and says his master is waiting for Keats and will give him guidance. We go through the dungeon, yet again, until we find a hot lady named Levane. She says she used Bilgay to reveal the path to the netherworld to Keats. She asks if Keats seeks truth. He says, yes, if it'll sell a story. Levane explains a bunch of stuff that we already know, because we already played Ellen's chapter. Basically, go absorb some folklore ids and you'll get closer to the truth. We continue through the dungeon, but Keats is denied access to the Hall of the Fairy Lord. The fairies do not seem thrilled that he's around. Anyway, Keats finds his way to the same folklore that Ellen fought, and he fights it too, but in a slightly different way, because he has slightly different folks at his disposal. After the fight, Keats gets transported to the Memories pub and meets our good old friend Deerhead, who explains some stuff we already know because we played Ellen's chapter. And then Regine appears in the pub. Keats asks her if she told anyone that she called Ellen to the cliff. She says no. Keats says that he still doesn't know who the mystery caller is then. He shows Regine the photo of her family. Regine says, Suzette was still in my womb at the time. Keats asks what happened after this photo, and Regine says that her husband told her to leave town to protect Suzette, so she left. But in the end, she was unable to do anything for her. Keats asks if Regine has any message she'd like him to give Suzette, and Regine says to tell her that she just wants her to live her life and be happy. Keats presses further, asking exactly what happened, and Regine gets out the words church, herve, and oh Lord have mercy, before turning into a bug. Deerhead again explains stuff we already know because we played Ellen's chapter, and then the bug explodes and we see Regine receiving the news from Ryan, and then at some point later writing the letter that Ellen received while cackling about revenge. Keats is like, okay, weird. So what happened at the church 17 years ago, and how does Ellen fit into it? Anyway, Keats is back in the fairy realm now, and he has the same conversation with Belgay about other realms that Ellen had with Scarecrow. Keats returns to Doolin and visits Suzette. Keats tells Suzette everything that he learned, and Suzette's like, damn, maybe spirit detectives are real. Suzette says her mother always blamed her for Herve's death, but she wants to know more about what happened with her family. Keats delivers Regine's message, which leaves Suzette speechless. Keats steps out into the night, and we catch a glimpse of a freaky figure in an Organization 13 cloak staring at him. Keats senses something, but when he turns, no one's there. Keats monologues for a while about how silly he is for jumping at shadows in the village of the dead where supernatural shit is constantly happening. Plenty of reason to be jumping around, but whatever. And thus ends chapter 1, and we will listen to some music and then talk about our memorable moments.
So, we gotta talk about how this game does cutscenes.
It does cutscenes in several
Three
ways.
different ways.
Okay,
And-
the main way that makes it like, oh, interesting? Question mark?
Yeah,
Which is
that way.
So it goes for a comic book sort of style, I guess, by putting comic book sort of frames around the screen. But when I say that, it's not like they do like interesting little bits of like, oh hey, we made a cool little comic book scene. No. They have the in-engine, characters talking, and then they they just put the frame around it. And so it's like a comic panel, but with the characters doing their breathing idle animations still. And it's just, I don't know. It's so weird.
And on top of that, that's not the only thing on screen. While it happens, over half of the screen is this big floral piece with a tiny hole in it, and that's where they put all of the comic book frames.
It's weird.
It's very weird.
It's one of those things where I want to, like, I can see a world where this is done in a way that's like, wow, that's such a cool way to get over, like, limitations you clearly had making this game. This is awesome, and you did a great job. This is not that. This is like, wow, that was a cool idea. I wish you'd done it better.
Yeah.
It annoys me that you don't click through to go through each text box. It like plays a certain sequence, and then you click through to go to the end of the sequence, to the next part of the sequence. So there will be several text boxes before you click through. So you just have to wait for the text boxes to all appear in sequence. There's a fast forward button, but if you press the fast forward button, it might, if you hold that down, it might jump past one text box before you're finished reading it. It's just annoying if you don't read at the exact pace at which things pop up.
Speaking of the presentation of this game, you know how I famously have said that graphics don't need to get any better than the PS3?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can be wrong sometimes. Ellen's cutscene face is so bad.
It's so goddamn bad.
I like her scared pose where she's like completely hunched over and holding her hands up. She looks so weird.
I'm glad we're ragging on this game together, because I'm like, y'all, like, I enjoy a good, like, so bad it's good sort of thing sometimes. This definitely closer to that realm than just like a really good secret game no one knows about.
I'm making fun of this game, but I like it and I think it's good so far.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, I'm really glad you're enjoying it.
yeah, I think that it's a good game that like it exists in the perfect 7 out of 10 where it does a lot of things that are really bad and it don't make any sense. But they try, and the trying is something that you don't see very often, and so that covers up for the last 3 points. Is all of the stuff they tried covers up the weird presentation and the odd
I
graphics.
completely understand what you mean. This is unfortunately one of those areas where the game is like, I agree with you 100%, and I would even agree this is a strong 7 out of 10 sort of game. The problem is, it is a 7 out of 10 game in a genre that it takes a 10 out of 10 to get my attention. Because, like, I truly have been thinking about this game. I need to tell you in my head, I just keep thinking of it as, we have Silent Hill at home. And that's maybe a little mean, but, like, it feels very much of that sort of ilk, but, like, you know, it's this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's trying really hard, though.
It's trying really hard. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite social media accounts was Video Game Advisor, and that account mysteriously disappeared, and no one knows what happened to it. So now there's new Video Game Advisor, which is someone made the same thing again and says, if the old one shows back up, I'll delete this, but we still got to get advice from video games. And so I've submitted one of the fairies saying, do you know about quests? They're favors people ask you to do. Ask around at the pub. Because I think that's very good advice.
It's true.
Quests are favors that people ask you to do, and you can find them at the pub.
Yeah. The like our king demands that we give tutorial elves are weird. Why did you have to make their tutorials diegetic? That's odd, but also I love it.
And I couldn't remember the exact details, and I didn't feel like poking around the long plays to see if I could find the parts where they say it, but there was something about like Levain and being like an enemy of the fairies or something, and that's why the fairies don't like Keats. I don't know. There's something going on there.
At one point during the dungeon, which is right around the time where Keats meets Levain, there's a elf that's like, oh, you should go and get some quests. If you don't have one already, you're doing it wrong. Leave the dungeon, go pick up a quest, and come back. And I was like, no, you can't make me. I'm engaging with no side content in this game.
So the quests are weird. You would
They're
think
so
it would.
weird.
You think it would be like I go to the pub and it's like, oh, by the way, I need 3 rat pelts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so, oh, I'll pick those up while I'm out. But no, you go to the pub, you accept a quest, you immediately get transported into the netherworld, where you are just like, for both of the quests I did this week, you're just like in the realm, the fairy realm, and you just go through it again. And there are different NPCs around that you talk to, and you just go through the fairy realm again and talk to NPCs and fight fights, and then you complete the quest and you wind up back at the pub. It's completely separate from the rest of the game, but you're still just going through the same dungeon again. It's weird.
It's odd.
You could buy DLC to do more of these quests.
No, thank you.
That reminds me of one thing that really frustrated and confused me. I was going through Keats's chapter, and I got to the part where it was like, okay, go fight the Folklore. So I go in the direction that the Folklore has to be in, and there is a wall of thorns blocking my path. And I'm like, okay, I guess I need to talk to an NPC or something to progress the story. But I talked to everyone, and the wall of thorns wouldn't go away. Eventually, it turns out, sometimes the path to a Folklore will be blocked if you don't have all the folks that you need in order to defeat it, because there is actually an interesting thing in this game where at certain times you'll receive, or you can also find, pages of a picture book that has little illustrations of folks fighting and stuff, and you can use that to figure out which folks are effective against which others. So you'll get pictures of the folklores, and it'll be like, okay, you look at it and like, okay, I got to use this one at this time, and then I'll use this, and then when this happens, I'll use this one. But I didn't have all the folks I needed, and it turns out that's not just the recommended way you do it. You have to do it that way, so it doesn't let you progress. So eventually I figured out there was another area that I hadn't gone to, and some folks I hadn't sucked up. So
I love
I
that they're
think-
called folks because it makes talking about them very silly.
Yeah, it makes it real easy for being from the South. I can just talk about folks all the time. But I think I must have chosen at the split, chosen the opposite way of you, because I ended up on the opposite side of the thorns that I couldn't get past, and I was like, oh, weird. Like, why am I here? And then I had to backtrack, go to the other side, because I could see the folk that I needed, the little fiery guy. I could see him on the other side, and I had to backtrack and go all the way around to grab him. But doing it backwards that way let me know a lot easier that this was not the right way to go. I needed to go back. But doing it your way doesn't do that.
I'm pretty sure we're talking about different thorn walls, but whatever.
Then maybe I'm just better than you.
I think that's probably you just went better directions than I did.
Yeah, that's what I heard you say. I'm better than you.
Yes. But talking about quests reminded me of that, because I was like, okay, one of the fairies told me I should do quests. So I left the fairy realm, went and did a quest. The quest actually involved Herv and Ronaldo. So I was like, oh, this is totally part of the critical path. But then when I got back, the thorn wall was still there, and I screamed. But speaking of screaming, I had to try so hard to play this video game. I had it on my PlayStation 3, but it turns out my PlayStation 3 controller is fake or bad or something, because the 6-axis doesn't work, and you got to use the 6-axis controls in this game. That's why this game is scary. So I had to get it running on my computer and get my DualSense hooked to my computer and download a program that makes the computer thinks the DualSense is a DualShock 4, and then I could do it.
My DualSense worked just plugging it in with USB.
My DualSense does work with the computer, but everyone said to make it think it's a DualShock 4 if you're using 6-axis stuff.
Yeah, I didn't have to. So I don't know if it's
maybe that's why you were having trouble.
I also know that the fancy features of the DualShock 4 and 5 for some instances only work over USB and not over Bluetooth, and you need special drivers. So if yours isn't plugged in, then that might be it too. I don't know.
Yeah, mine is Bluetooth.
Yeah. You specifically told me to not fix this problem for you, and this is the third time that I've attempted. But I also had a hell of a time getting this game to work. So it wasn't available digitally on my PS3, so I couldn't legally acquire it from the servers that are down for the PS3. So I was
you
like,
can
okay,
buy stuff on the PlayStation 3 store. It's a fucking hassle, but you can.
Oh, I thought they took it down, but maybe I'm thinking of all of the other stores that have been taken down from that era.
You have to jump through some hoops, but you can buy stuff on the PlayStation 3 store still.
Okay. If I take my PlayStation 3 online, I will not be able to play on the PlayStation Network ever again. So
can't imagine why.
No idea why. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just go and get a rip of the disc and then move it over to do it. But because I don't play on my PS3 all the time. I don't keep up with all of the hacks and shit. And there has been a PS3 update, which then can break your hacks and not let it connect to the network, which is the fastest way to be able to send files over, because PS3 can't handle files that are bigger than 4 gigabytes through the USB ports. So you have to send it over the network, which I couldn't connect to. And I decided I'm not going to figure this out anymore. I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to resist solving a tech issue so that I can just play it on my computer. But then I had like 900 tech issues on my computer trying to get it to work, and I eventually did. And when I got there, it has screen tearing really bad, even if I put on VSync. So it's sad.
Screen tearing is the worst thing that can happen to a person.
Mm-hmm.
Never tear on a screen, kids.
I think this game is neat. I think it's got a weird
Agreed.
vibe to it, and I am really enjoying it, even though I made a lot of fun of the fact that we do the same thing in Keats's chapter again. I enjoyed Keats's chapter.
I did too.
I think I'm just liking this game a lot more than y'all. Which
Oh,
is
I'm
appropriate
loving
because
it.
I'm the one who
You're
said
looking
we
at
should
more
play
than
it.
me, which is unsurprising.
So I realized the exact vibe that this game has just now, and I had to Google it to make sure I had his name right. But it is not Tim Burton-esque, but it is Henry Selick-esque. It is Coraline,
yes.
not
Yes.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
100%, you're right. And this is one of those areas where I want to say a weirdo, because I feel like weirdos are the ones who like those things. This is one of the rare areas where I'm not much of a weirdo, in that I like Henry Selick stuff fine. It's not my favorite thing.
Yeah, I love Coraline a lot, and Wendell and Wild was okay, but I wouldn't say like I love all of his stuff. But I do like the vibes, and this game has his vibes. So that'll do it for the week. If you like what you heard today, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where any and all donations help us offset the cost of running the show. If you decide to donate $1 more a month, you'll become one of our gadabouts and get access to our bonus feed filled with after shows for every episode, as well as bonus seasons of the show, such as Tales of Podcastia, the Escape Pod, and the JRPG Canon. Well, this is where I would put my JRPG Canon episodes if I had one. Getting divorced and moving is hard, so I haven't gotten to it, but I'm getting back to it. I have a literal plan that I'm going to get through. JRPG Canon's coming back, folks. You also get to vote on what game we play next, and right now we have a vote open for our Best of the Rest bracket for Year 6, and our games that we have available are Radiata Stories for the PS2, Golden Sun and Golden Sun: The Lost Age for the Game Boy Advance. It ends on a cliffhanger. We're not going to do that to you, folks. Panzer Dragoon Saga for the Sega Saturn, and Dragon Quest IV: Chapters of the Chosen for a Japanese DS. And if you want to go and vote for those, you can do that at www.rpgbook.club, and your vote will probably count because there are only a couple votes in right now, and the score is very close. There is a leader of the pack currently, but any vote can change the outcome right now. If while you're there you want to update your membership to be $5 or more each month, you can become one of our warriors to get your name read at the end of every episode, a little like this. Shoutouts to Dragon Slayer 19, Freddie Rodriguez, and JFro Prime. And then if you really, really love us and you want to be a luminary, you can donate $20 or more a month to get a short one-sentence shout-out or advert right at the end of each episode, a little like this. Shout-outs to Kale Dranas, who says to check out Podcasters Assemble, a documentary-style, crowdsourced movie hype and rewatch podcast. Every season, podcasters from around the world are assembled to review, reminisce, and riff on a popular franchise. And shout-outs to Vimke, who says, only then did Gideon's palms prickle. And then shoutouts to It's Claire Time, who says, for you TTRPG nerds, check out Fabula Ultima, who just launched a Kickstarter featuring new books with art by Yoshitaka Amano. Still not affiliated with the game, just a great system to play your own JRPG. For RPG Book Club, I've been Sam.
I'm Bernard. I'm going to go to sleep and have nightmares because of this game.
I'm Trish, and I'm gonna go to bed and sleep like a baby.
To quote Maddie Grace Webbin, 2 out of 4, too scary.
It's
Truly,
too
folks.
scary.
Goodbye, folks.